Alright, hello. This is a little video about presenting data in a professional manner. So the whole point is to make tables easy. I like to use Excel to make my tables. Some people use other things, but I like to use Excel. The goal is to be clear and concise, and after a while, they will become your source of pride. You will be very proud when you produce a good looking table. So this table is going to be about summary statistics and percentages. But you can use the same idea of how to format it for more complex tables involving like OLS or logistic regression. So step one, you can see here, launch Excel, enter variable names into a vertical column. So here's my Excel document. You can see I've already started to enter my variable names in a vertical column. I have age, years of education, employment status. I have different values for employment status. They can be unemployed, full-time employed, or part-time. I'm going to have marital status, married, single, divorced, and I'm going to go ahead and type other. So you can see variables are often left aligned, but attributes are right aligned in italics. So here, I'm going to make marital status left aligned, but I'm going to make all the attributes right aligned. I'm going to do that by highlighting which ones I want where. So here I highlight employment status and I click the little left align button at the top. Here I want the three options to be right aligned, so I'm going to click right align. As you can see, it's pretty ugly right now. Years of education goes into the second column, so is employment status, and we don't want that. So if your variable names are too long for the Excel box, go up to the top and click between the lettered columns. So here everything's in column A, but it's going into column B. So I'm going to click between these columns, and then I'm going to drag it just long enough for all the variable names. So now you can see it's starting to look a little bit prettier. Also, I'm going to highlight these and make them italicized by clicking the sideways eye. So it's starting to look better. So this is what you should get, something like this. So step two is getting columns. So we're going to, usually people separate these columns by groups or subgroups of within their sample. So you may have like an overall column in the sample, a male's column in the sample, and a female's column in the sample. So here, let me make sure I'm matching this up. So here I'm just going to put overall, then I'm going to put males and then females. And I like to center these. So I'm going to highlight all three and click the little center button. And I also like to actually underline them. So I'm going to highlight them and click the little underline button. But people are different. It's all about how you want it to look. And if you have lots and lots and lots of columns going across, so once you get into later and you have lots of models, or if you have like an OLS model and a logistic model or something, you might want to put little lines between here. So I'm going to separate my overall column from my male and female column by a little gray line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the males column. I'm going to go right here to this little like window panel looking thing, click the down arrow. I like mine to be like a light gray color. It's kind of up to you. And as you see, it gives me a little pencil and it has a light gray on it. So I'm just going to go and drag it all the way down to there. And then to get out of that, you just re-click on the window pane and click anywhere. So you can see that now it has a little gray line all the way down. So you should be getting something like this. I accidentally put a gray line like right here, it looks like. So I'm going to undo that. To undo that, you click on the window pane and you just click no border right there, so you can see it took away the little gray line. But if you don't make mistakes like that, then you won't have to figure that out. Alright, so step 3, add a title. So your title should tell you exactly what your table is going to be about. And make sure you number them, table 1, table 2, table 3. Some people follow this with either a period or a colon. I tend to use a period, but colons can be used. You should see what your professor does, and that may be helpful. So let's see what I labeled mine. over here. So I'm going to label this one Table 1, Descriptive Statistics by Gender, Means, and Percentages. So it's a pretty descriptive title. It kind of tells you exactly. I'm going to give you some descriptive statistics. I'm going to give you means and percentages. I'm going to do it by gender. So your title should always be at the top left of the table. So it should be up here. So if the title is too long, once again you can see it's really long. It goes all the way to almost column F over here. So we're going to click this box that I typed in, and we're going to drag right. So my table, my female column ends right here at column D. So I'm only going to drag to column D. And I'm going to click this little button right here. It looks like it says merge and center when you hover over it. I'm going to click that, and that's going to merge all those columns together so that your title will run all the way across. However, you can see that it's still, go to my next slide. However, you can see that my title is still pretty long. You can't see it all. So once again, I'm going to click that. Now it's going to highlight it all because it's all merged together. I'm going to click this little button. When you hover over it, it's going to say wrap text. And now you can see it goes table 1, almost all of it, but not quite. So I'm going to click between here and I'm going to drag it down. So now you can see it all. It takes up 2 lines, but that's okay. Usually I like to keep my titles to 1 line, but sometimes there's just not a lot you can do. Sometimes it will go on to 2 lines. So that's just something you have to try to play with the wording if you want it to be shorter or longer. So I like my titles left aligned. It says right aligned here, but I got that wrong. So I like it left aligned. So I'm going to click the left align button. And I like mine to have a border at the bottom. So I'm going to once again click on this little window pane and go to, I'm going to change my color black back to automatic. And then I'm going to draw a little border at the very bottom. And then click on the window pane. Alright, so I'm not really sure what happened, but let's try that again. So I'm going to click on my title, click on my window pane. My line color is black, so we're good to go. And I'm going to click bottom border. There it goes. It worked that time. So now you can see I have my title. I have a black bottom border to separate it from the actual table. But you can kind of get creative here. So it should look something like this at this point. So it's starting to come together. Step 4, data, data, data. So you're going to enter all your values into here, which I'm going to steal it from here. But at this point, you can just enter your data. Oh, maybe that won't work. So don't really pay attention to what I'm doing right now. Because you will just be typing it or copying and pasting it from Stata. I'm just copying and pasting it from another Excel doc right now. This is completely made up data. I just pulled these out of the thin air. Alright, so, oh look, I got all my data in there. How convenient. So I like my data to be center aligned, so I'm going to highlight it all and put it in the center. You can see that helps. I like putting percentage signs and units by mine. That way when people say look at years, they don't just see a number, but they get to see the actual units measured in. So you can see I went ahead and, the average age for this overall sample is 23.5. Some people will just put the 23.5. I personally like to put years. Same thing with education years. For these are percentages. And especially once you get into higher stuff and you have coefficients and all sorts of random things in there, you want to make sure. So I'm going to highlight all of this. And then I'm going to just go up here to, this messes with your formatting. So right now it's just in general. I'm going to go down to put it in percentages. So it's looking better, but I don't want all those zeros. So I'm going to push this one. So I'm going to decrease the decimal. So now they're just whole numbers. Alternatively, you could just type these in. That's what I originally did. Is I just typed 32, click the percentage sign, 32, click the percentage sign. Once again, I'm not really sure how common it is to always include percentage signs or years, but I like to do it. So you can always ask your professor. And once again, these text doesn't quite fit in these little boxes, so this is a little bit longer than we'd like. It kind of runs into the next column. So if the text doesn't fit the columns, we got to go up to the top, and we're going to drag these once again to make them a little bit wider. Oh, look, now it all fits. How convenient. So let's see. So for mean, so this is a mean value, this is a mean value. That's the average. You should always include your standard deviation. This can't be done in a separate column, so you can put it, right next to it in a different column. But it can also be done just underneath it, and so you may need to add a row. So here I need a row underneath this. So I have this mean right here, 23.5. I need the standard deviation for that, so I need to put it right underneath there. But there's already something in that box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on row 5. So first I'm going to click on row 5, then I'm going to right click on row 5, and I'm going to click insert, and it's going to give me another row. Now let's say I want to add the standard deviation. Usually these are done in parentheses and in italics. So I'm going to start typing. Very important, you need to put a little quote, just the one little quote or apostrophe or whatever that sign is right there. Put one of those, put parentheses, put your standard deviation, close your parentheses, hit enter. It's going to give you this little green mark because it thinks you made an error. No big deal, you didn't. Once again, I'm going to, let's see what the next one is. 3.14. So once again, quote, parentheses 3.14, close quote. And what was my last one? 1.25. Quote, quote, parentheses 1.25, in parentheses, enter. You can see it gives me that. Same thing with years, 2.12, so 2.12, 1.16, 1.65. Oh, so the reason you have to do that little awkward quote at the or the awkward this thing right here, this little marker, is because if you just try to type in this number, it's gonna think you want a negative number. I have no idea why it does that, but to avoid that, you have to put that little symbol and then open your parentheses, put your number, close parentheses, push enter. That way it'll keep it in there. To italicize them, highlight them all, click the little I, highlight them all, click the little I. And you're good to go. See, they look like something like this. I guess on here, on the PowerPoint, I actually didn't italicize them, but you should. You should italicize them. That's generally what's done. So step 5 is note. So most tables are going to have a note, and then this note includes the source of where the data came from. So if it came from the General Social Survey, the GSS, you'd want to put it there. So add a source at the end. This is where the data should come from. The source should be under the last row of data, and most are going to be left as centered. So right here, let's see what I wrote as my note. So I had a source, make, believe, data. I'm just trying to keep it consistent here. And 2017, and then note. Standard deviations are reported in parentheses. Alright, so you can see I added a couple of notes down here. Like I say right here, you'll probably need to merge these cells again. So I'm going to highlight the one, or I'm going to click on the one that I started typing in, go to the left all the way to cell D, go up here and click this little merge and center button. I'm going to do that with the bottom one as well. And like I said, most are going to be left aligned, so once again I'm going to highlight both and click on left align. It's looking good. I like to make sure these are italics, so they already are, but I might have already done this, but you click the little sideways icon. And if all of your analyses include the same number of observation, you should also have an N. So let's say I was running models or something, or I had summary statistics for the entire sample, all 300 people, then I would put a little note down here that looks something like this. This N equals 300 people or whatever. For my note, I like to have a top border on it. Some people are different, obviously, so I'm going to highlight both of them. I'm going to go up here to the window, click on the little black down arrow, and click top border. It's going to give me a nice black top border. And then, so like I said earlier, you want them to put the number of observations somewhere in their table, but mine are all different. So I have the overall sample of everybody, then I have different subsamples. So my N is going to be different for each column. So I'm going to add another row and put my number of observations for each one of these columns right at the top here. So once again, I'm going to click on this number 4 because that's where I want to add the row. So right here, I left click on 4, right click, gives me this drop down option. Then I'm going to click and insert. So let me make sure I match this up. So I'm just going to put in right here. So this is going to be my number of observations, and I have 154. Make sure it's not underlined. Commas 172 observations and 77,086 and 77,086. So they're all accidentally underlined, so I'm going to highlight them and underline. So now you can see my overall sample size is going to be this, my male sample size is this, and my female sample size is this. So it's looking like a pretty good table so far. We only have a few more things. So step 6 is final formatting. So you want to pick a good font and you want to make sure it all matches. So just highlight everything. I like to use Times New Romans, and I like to use 12-point font. It's easy to see. It's big. If you don't like the spacing, once again, just go back and drag these apart. And then for the sources, I like to make these a little smaller sometimes. So I'm just going to highlight it and make it 10 font. I don't know, they just tend to be smaller in tables for some reason, so that's what I do. So you should be getting something that's looking pretty good by this time. Nice. So the last step is pasting it into a Word. So let me go ahead and grab a Word document up. So to paste into Word, if you just go like this, you highlight it all, you Control C, you go to Word and you Control V. It looks pretty good, but it's in a table in Word. You can see you get up your table tools, and this can be super sketchy when you're typing it or adding it into the middle of a paper. So you had your intro paragraph up here for your paper. You're so excited to tell your professor about all these statistics you ran, and it can just get kind of wonky. So I never do this. I never just put it in, and then, you start doing this, and then you go down, and, oh, I'm typing inside my table now, let me delete that, or, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like I want to edit everything in my Excel doc, and whenever I paste it into my Word doc, I don't want it to be editable. People are different about this. Also, it messes up your formatting. See, we went through all the hard work to keep this years right behind these numbers, and look, it like collapsed them all. Like, what's going on here? I don't know. Yeah, so I don't really know what's going on here. So I'm just going to delete all that and get out of here. And look, you can't even delete it all, I don't know. It's funky. I don't ever do that. So I would highly suggest never doing that. So to paste into Word without all these little lines and without all that garbage. So I'm going to go up here to paste, but I'm actually going to go right beside it to this little one that says copy. When you hover over it, it has 2 pieces of paper. I'm going to click on this down arrow to the right of it. And I'm going to not click copy because that'll do the same thing as Control C. I'm going to go to copy as picture. Then I'm going to click as shown when printed. If you click as shown on screen, you'll get every single little line ever. But I just want the lines I drew, not all the little lines. So I'm going to click as shown when printed. I'm going to click OK. Then I can go into Word, and I can just paste it like I normally would. You know, you can click this paste, you can Control V, and it looks exactly like it did in Excel. I have my numbers right next to the year words. I have my italics reported in parentheses, my notes. Everything is the exact same like I had it in the Excel doc. And it has a picture you can see up here. So this is not editable. If you try typing on it, you'll just type to the left or the right. You are unable to actually change it. And some people don't like this. Some people like to be able to edit it in Word. I personally like to edit everything in my Excel document and then just paste it as a picture into Word. Makes it super easy to move around. If you start typing, it'll just, go below it or whatever. You don't have to worry about messing up your table. And it appears exactly like you wanted it to. Nothing gets moved around. It looks like my females aren't underlined, but that's just because I'm not zoomed in enough. So all your formatting will be there. I wanted overall males and females underlined. It looks like they're not, but they really are. If you print it off, they will be. So you're good to go. And so we paste in a Word, you get this nice, awesome looking table. And so some last tips. I personally like to keep each table on a different sheet in my Excel document. So let's say I'm writing a paper for, Stats 101, and I have 4 different tables I'm going to include. I'm going to put one table on this one. I'm going to add it to a new sheet. Mine are out of order here, but you can go down here, click sheet, and then the next sheet, add your second table, click sheet 3, add your third table. And for your fourth table, you just click insert a worksheet, and you can add a fourth table right here. That way each table is on a different sheet, and you always know where to find them. Also, another thing is, I did this without really talking about it, but in big numbers like 154,172, you want to put commas in big numbers. This makes it easy for people who are reading your table to read that number. It's tempting just to type it all on there, but make sure you add commas. It really makes a difference. And tables should be labeled as table 1, table 2, table 3, etc., while graphs are labeled as figures, figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. This might seem obvious, but I struggled with it whenever I was trying to figure all this out. So there's a good helpful hint. Alright, so there's a pretty decent looking table. You can play with the font, you can play with the italics, you can do all sorts of stuff, but it's a pretty good looking table. Hope this helps.